Good morning. Net. As wonderful as it is to be able to communicate with each other through this new technology, which is an amazing opportunity that we have. As wonderful as that is, it is so strange to do this, and to me, to see your names and to see your good mornings there is like a little bit of I don't know how to say, a little bit of humanity. Like it's like a little bit of nature in this, as wonderful as it is, completely unnatural way to communicate. I suppose, I said anything, I suppose you hear me well. You don't have to say anything unless you don't hear me well. the formal meditation hasn't started yet, but the true meditation is continuously going. So it is fine to wait for the formal meditation, but be aware that the deeper meditation is going on, which is just our being. I will probably mention this a little more. I will probably mention this a little bit more as we go in the meditation. But we can talk about like if there are two different kinds of witness. And witnessing is one thing that we're going to do in this meditation. But just to have an idea, we can speak like if there are two kinds of witness. One is the one that we're going to practice in this meditation, and the practice of this witnessing, we can say, is the witness of the mind. Is the mind to be more focused, the mind to be more attentive, the mind to be more present into this moment. That will be the practice that we will do in this meditation. But then there is another kind of witness, and that witness is a witness that is witnessing all the time. It's a witness that is aware of the witness that we will use throughout this meditation. And that witness is nothing that we do. It's something that we either become knowingly that the witness is there, or we don't. And usually we don't. There is nothing to do about the second witness other than know that it is there. And I could even go deeper and say, not just to know that it is there, but to know that that witness is what we really are. But in order to recognize that second witness, it is very useful for this first witness, the one that we're going to practice in this meditation. It's very useful if that witness is also there. The second witness doesn't depend on the first witness, but if the first witness is there, if the mind is more present, if the mind is with more focus in the moment, then it's a great help to recognize that witness that is always there. So what we will practice in this meditation is going to be focusing the mind. It's going to be bringing the mind back into the moment, over and over and over and over. So it's a wonderful practice that we will do in this meditation. And it's a wonderful practice that we can do throughout all our day. Even now, just to bring the mind back into this moment. That will be a practice. I often refer to this as the practice, the yoga of presence. And as I usually mention in these meditations, it's very important to keep in mind that nothing is supposed to happen. Nothing special is supposed to happen. But whatever happens, that is exactly what is supposed to happen. And that is very special. But everything is special. This moment is absolutely special, it's unique. It's just that we lose this perception of the amazingness of the moment. That's what often in common language it means grown up. One way to define a grown up is as a person that has lost the sense of wonder to the moment. So we will start the so-called formal meditation. And I will recommend you to keep your eyes closed. We may open the class at certain point throughout the meditation. We will open them and then close them again, probably. But I will recommend you to keep your eyes closed throughout this meditation as much as you can. So just find a comfortable position for your body. You can sit on a chair if you want to. You can sit on the floor if you're comfortable. And if it's too difficult to sit, you can even stand. The position of the body is not going to be as important, although it is very important. And a good position and a straight back is really, really, really helpful because the position of the body keeps the mind to stay awake. And we want to be awake and alert. That's why I will not recommend to lie down. Not because it's not possible to meditate lying down, but because it's very easy to lose the alertness of the mind when we lie down. So, as important as it is the position of the body, it's not really fundamental. What is fundamental is the position of the mind, is the alertness of the mind. And we want the mind to be very alert. Relaxed, but alert and present. If you want to close your eyes, just stay there for a few seconds, nothing to do, nowhere to go, just simply to get accustomed to this inner world. Don't try to change anything. Just simply see what you find. It's like if you suddenly discover a new, undiscovered country. Don't touch anything in that undiscovered country. Just simply notice. Nothing has to change, nothing has to be different. Pay attention to your hands for a few seconds and try to relax your hands. You can put the hands in any position that you feel comfortable. You can put one hand on top of the other hand and then have the thumbs touching each other. You can cross your fingers. Whatever position is comfortable for your hands, but then try not to move your hands as much as you can. Try not to move your hands. Come back to this undiscovered country, which is this inner world. And again, don't touch anything. Just simply see what is there. Don't think about what is there, but just notice what is there. For example, you find a body, but see that the body that you find in this inner world is very different from the body that we find in the outer world. If you don't refer to memory, and please do not refer to memory, see that the body that is here is something completely different from the body that we usually know. Don't refer to memory. Don't go into your image in your mind. Memory creates an image in your mind. And this memory, this image in your mind, is a mix of several things. It's a mix of the actual memory of the body, of how the body looks, but it's together with what we learn throughout our experience of life, through our childhood, through what society thinks, through the experiences that we had. All this creates a certain memory. And that's the image that appears in our mind. But I will ask you not to refer to that memory, to that image. but just to refer to the actual experience that you have in this moment of your body, and see that this experience is completely different from the memory that you have, or the memory that you can bring up as an image in your mind. The body that you experience is like a live vibration with no form, unless you refer to memory. But the form is in the memory and not in the actual experience of your body. Just feel this vibrating aliveness. Feel this vibrating aliveness in what we call the legs. But legs is a memory. So go to what we call the legs, but then drop the label legs and just feel this vibrating aliveness with no shape, no form. Notice this vibrating aliveness in what we call the hips. But remember, the hips is just a memory. Go to that part of the body and then drop the label and just feel this vibrating aliveness right there. Notice this vibrating aliveness in what we call the trunk. We call it the tummy, the chest, the back. But then drop those labels and just feel a large chunk of vibrating aliveness. See that when you feel this vibrating aliveness, one of the characteristics of it is that it is empty. What we call the legs, they are empty. What we call the hips, they are empty. What we call the trunk is empty. Notice the arms, notice the hands, notice the fingers, and then drop the labels. And see that what we call the tip of the fingers, this vibration is very clear. It's the same in the whole body, but right there is more clear. Bring the attention to the neck and then drop the label neck. And the shoulders and drop the label shoulders. This dropping the label maybe is not so easy to do. Just do what you can, don't worry for it. Just simply try not to go back into your memory, into your image, in what you know. but stay in the actual experience of what you feel, of what you sense, of what is truly there. Feel the same in your face, and then drop the label face. Feel the top of your head, feel the back of your head, feel the whole of your head, and then drop the label head. Try to connect to this vibrating sensation that we call our body. The feet, the legs, the hips, the trunk, the arms, the hands, the shoulders, the neck, the face, the head. And one more time, the feet, the legs, the hips, the trunk, the arms, the shoulders, the neck, the face, the head, the whole body. Drop the label body and just feel what is actually there. Now start connecting to your breathing and see that the air comes into every part of this vibrating aliveness. And when the air comes into this vibrating aliveness, it's like this aliveness lightens up. It becomes more shiny. It shines. Take a couple of deep breaths. Just deep inhalation and then very softly deep exhalation, always through the nose. And then drop the breathing, meaning don't breathe with your thoughts, but just let the breathing happen. Try to bring attention to the breath and how the breath lightens up this vibrating, alive body. if you get lost in your thoughts, don't worry for it. Just the moment that you realize that you get lost in your thoughts, bring the attention back into the breathing. Bring the attention back into the breathing, lighting up this vibrating body. And even if you have to do this, bringing the attention back 100 times, just do it 100 times. We could say that the essence of this meditation is not really to feel the vibrating body, but is to bring the attention back. If you feel this vibrating body, that's a nice thing. If you feel how the breathing lightens up this vibrating body, that's a nice thing. But the important thing is the focus that you have right now on your breathing, lighting up this vibrating body. And every time you inhale, this vibrating body expands. This vibrating body doesn't have the limitations that our idea of the body has. This vibrating body doesn't have a shape, doesn't have a form. The shape and the form are only in your mind, in your memory, not in your experience. And every time you inhale, this vibrating body expands. You could think of a body right now as a cloud, and the breathing like a very soft breath. And when the breath comes, it expands the cloud. But don't worry for that image. That's just one image out of 100 possibilities. Just simply focus on the breathing, lighting up this vibrating body. And if you get lost on your thoughts, if you get lost on your worries, if you get lost on whatever you get lost on, it doesn't matter. Just the moment you realize, bring the attention back into the breathing. Now, I would like you to imagine a flame, like a candle. Just try to imagine, just using your imagination. Imagine a candle and a flame in any shape you want, but not big. Something that you can easily put in your hand. And I want you to imagine that flame right in front of your face. And I want you to look at that flame. That flame is about 10-15 centimeters in front of your face. And I want you to look at that flame. Now that flame is a very gentle flame, and it irradiates a beautiful light. But it is also it's not a very strong flame. And so when you breathe, especially when you exhale, you can touch the flame with your breathing. And so I would like you to breathe very gentle, as not to touch that flame. I would like you to breathe very gentle. Otherwise, you can turn off that flame. You can blow it off with your breath. It's a very beautiful and gentle flame. But it's a very weak flame. So breathe very gentle, so as the air does not reach the flame. If you get lost in your mind, don't worry for it. The breathing is not important. The flame is not important. What is truly important is that you bring your attention back. And you bring the attention back into the breathing. And you bring the attention back into the flame. And you bring the attention back into the softness of your breathing, so as the breath does not touch the flame. You're looking at the flame. You're noticing the flame, and you're noticing your breathing, to make your breathing very gentle. very, very soft. If you get lost, just return to the breathing. And then notice the flame. And then notice how the soft breathing is not affecting the flame. The important thing is the coming back, is the returning. First to the breathing, then to the flame, and then to the relationship between the breathing and the flame. Now, very gently, I want you to start noticing a silence that there is in this moment. Just notice the silence. And try to focus your attention on the silence. But notice that to pay attention to the silence is much more difficult because the silence doesn't have an objective quality that you can grasp on. With the breathing is easier, with the flame is easier. Because there is something you can grasp on. But then when you go to the silence, there is really nothing to grasp. So instead of the attention to go out into something like a breathing or a flame, it's more like attention needs to rest. Instead of hooking your attention on something, like for example a breath, or for example a flame. And when you hook the attention on something, then that becomes slightly easier to pay attention to the silence. You need to unhook that attention and relax that attention. To pay attention to silence, there is nothing to grasp. there is nowhere to go. You just need to relax the attention. But if you get lost, then go back into the breathing. And stay in the breathing. It's fine to stay there. From the breathing, go to the flame and stay in the flame. And then maybe you can let go of the attention. You can drop the attention. You can relax the attention. And then try to come into the silence. At any moment that you get lost and you notice that you're lost, go back to the breath. Go back to the flame. Hook your attention on something. And then when you spend a few moments there, maybe you can unhook the attention, rest the attention, and hear the silence. There is a silence that is depending on this meditation. Any sounds that appear around you will stop one of the silences. But there is another silence right here and now that remains even while I talk. That silence is always there. Independent of the sounds, independent of the noises that appear. But in order to recognize this second kind of silence, a silence produced by this meditation is very useful. If you get lost, go back to the breathing. Go back to the flame. And just for a few more seconds, you can also unhook your attention and notice the silence, which is a resting of the attention. Keep your eyes closed. Notice your breathing. And then very slowly, allow more air to come in and more air to go out. Very slowly start to move your toes, start to move your fingers. Start to move your hands, start to move your arms. And if you want to stretch the arms and stretch your legs, we will repeat your shoulders one way and the other way. Come back into the breathing. There is a silence that is produced by a good meditation, and that silence is very precious. And we should practice meditation often. We should practice meditation every day if one can. Even for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Even for 5 seconds, 10 seconds. To practice bringing a space in the mind which creates a silence in the mind. But that silence doesn't stay. It will go very soon. But there is another silence that is always there. And to call it silence is one way to call it. At the beginning of the meditation, I call it a witness. So it is a witness, it is a silence. And it's none of those things. And that's more true. It's none of those things. It's neither a witness nor a silence. We have a couple of minutes if you want to ask something. Next week, I am planning to do a session, a Wednesday evening, a session where I will do a short introduction and then we can have time for questions and answers. It will be Wednesday evening. Hopefully you can join me. And if you have any, now we have 2 or 3 minutes. If you have some questions, but please write any suggestions or comments that you like. And if you like the meditation, please put a like. And we will do tomorrow evening another session of a yoga session tomorrow evening. I will send you the schedule very soon, in the next couple of hours. We will do a yoga tomorrow evening. We will do another meditation like this one next Wednesday morning. And then on Wednesday evening, we will do the talk. I will do another yoga session on Friday morning. And maybe next Sunday also we will do another meditation. Even if there are no questions, we can stay together for the next 2 or 3 minutes. Practice this, bringing the attention back into the moment. Bringing attention to the breathing. Bringing attention to silence. I will send you the mail very soon. If you don't receive it, check spam, or if you have Gmail, check promotions. Bring the attention back. I appreciate seeing your names. I really do. Thank you very much for being here with me. And be safe. Be present. Bring the attention back into the moment. And see you next time. Hopefully see you tomorrow night for the yoga class. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here with you. Thank you. Ciao.